What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. It is the 18th of January, and the price is at about $2.06 with 5 hours, 16 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it, okay? Here we are. Grinding out this low area, I do suspect we will go lower. We will probably go just below $2 and find support anywhere from $1.99 to $1.95. Can we go lower? Sure. Could we not go lower and just bounce from here? Sure, that's fine. The overall expectation is that from this range that you've been in since 2024 December, 2024 November, however long it's been, that we will break out of this to the upside. That's the overall expectation. So I'm not really worried if this goes slightly lower, 5 cents, 10 cents lower or not, right? The big move is this direction, and we're all aware of that. I hope we're all aware of that, right? But with that being said, technically, what I'm seeing here, I think it's completely appropriate to call for a move somewhere around $1.99 to $1.95. It makes sense. Maybe even lower. But let's look at the short-term stuff and see what we can come up with, see what makes sense. I think we nailed it on the head right there, but we'll see. In case I didn't say it, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it. Here we are. Not really doing a whole lot. It's the weekend, right? Since Saturday, Friday, we've just been moving sideways, not really doing too much. We're grinding out this area, and I don't really like that to begin with. It makes me think that we're going to go lower. You still are above this zone where you found support before. The reaction you had here is pretty positive, and then even more so right here. Pretty positive here as well. If we come down to this area at about $2.03, $2.04, somewhere in here, and we don't get this kind of reaction or a better reaction, if it's anything weaker, I don't even care if it takes us above where we are now. If it's a weaker reaction than this, I would suspect that that's what was the word I'm looking for? Condemning. What's the word? It validates the idea that we're going to go to the downside. That's all I'm trying to say. If we get a weaker reaction, a weaker bounce in an area that we've been grinding at, that's likely a signal that we will break that area. It's not too hard to conceive. If we look at this on the 1 hour time frame, the RSI at the moment does have higher highs. Does the price have higher highs? The price does not have higher highs. You actually have a tied up high right here. 14 minutes left. If you come back down, you'll have even a lower high with higher highs here. There's a form of hidden bearish divergence here on the RSI and the stochastics. You're at a point here where you like to reject from, it seems, where you find resistance right here. I mean, you found resistance here so many times on your 1 hour RSI. It's uncanny. Even here, you're finding resistance at the areas that you've been finding resistance and support at. It just makes sense that you're going to go lower. I'm seeing it here. 4 hour time frame, the RSI here, it's a bit neutral. There's some good things going on, but I don't like the rejection off the 50. I don't like how much you're living below the 50. The stochastics are kind of positive here as well. You still have an hour left in this 4 hour time frame, though. Let's see how that works. In the MACD, there's some positivity in the MACD as well. It's just you had this bullish divergence in the MACD, and you didn't really do, I guess you did some with it. It's gone. I don't mind the MACD. I don't mind the stochastics. The RSI is kind of neutral. I just don't like the price action. I could be wrong, guys. I mean, maybe we don't go lower. Maybe we do bounce from here. And if that happens, whoop-de-doo. Who cares? We all know where we're going anyways. We have much higher aspirations than this. This is not something to really concern yourselves with. But for the sake of trying to be accurate with our predictions, I'm sticking with the $1.99 to $1.95 call. I'm not seeing enough here to convince me that we're ready to move up, but stochastics and the MACD, I mean, they don't look too bad. They're pretty neutral. They're pretty neutral right now. And for being in this bearish zone, that's not bad. But the 1 hour time frame gives me a little bit more bearishness. The price action looks pretty bad. Daily RSI bouncing off the 50 and then coming back down, rejecting the 60. That's not a good look in itself. Stochastics oversold. This is bearish here. You are reset. You're probably very near your low. I'm not calling for anything terrible, right? But a little bit lower. That's totally acceptable, and that makes sense with what we're seeing here. The MACD is actually bullish overall. We've crossed above. Now we're just in this consolidation phase. I think the next move up, whenever we do bounce off the zero, whenever we do get these oscillators, the orange and the blue lines here, to move up, whenever we get them to flip green and to flip bullish, I would expect that this next move higher will be bigger than this move here. So let's actually see if that holds true. Because typically that's what you see. It doesn't have to be, but let's just see here. From a low to a, nope, that's not what I meant to do. Low to a high. Let's pretend that we bounce off of like $1.99. 265 would be if we saw this exact same move. I'm expecting that after we move here, we probably don't stop at these points of resistance. We probably do go above there, so it makes sense. Yes, we probably do see a bigger move. We probably do go around 270 to 290, somewhere in that range, maybe even to $3 or higher. So it all makes sense with what we typically see. Typically, if you cross above the zero line on the daily MACD and you consolidate like this, once you move higher afterwards, you would expect a bigger move. That's just, at least I would. If you're getting overbought here and then you come back into the overbought zone, I would expect that next move to be bigger unless you reject the overbought zone. And let's just actually compare that to other results here. Let's see. Right here, for example. Let's see. So here, your move coming up above the zero was really, let's see, really started back here. I mean, to be fair, I guess here your overall move was bigger, low to high, but it was a lot smaller. It was pretty wimpy, right? I feel like this was just a reaction. Really, your move is like probably from this low to this high here. So this next phase was smaller, but you can see the difference. The move is a lot more powerful here. It's a lot more powerful. And that was after you bounced off the zero, after you crossed consolidated, you moved up. You had a stronger move here. It wasn't bigger overall, but it was stronger. And then you got to the overbought zone, but then deeper into it, you had a stronger move there. It's just that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's exactly, to me, what makes sense. So I'm calling for something around, something higher than 270. Probably by the end of this month, $2.70 to $3 by the end of the month. That's all I got. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.